Welcome to another taping of Beyond E-commerce podcast, where we find and fund your purpose through reselling on Amazon and Walmart. Today we have Dave LaCroix. How are you today, Dave?
Great. How are you?
Doing well. Wonderful day. So I have personally purchased some of your products and services to kind of up my game on the Amazon side. And I was wondering, how did you get into this reselling? Take me to the beginning.
Yes. I'm from Massachusetts originally, but I moved to Florida in 2016 to do the Disney College program.
Wow.
And it's basically an internship where you work at Disney World. And I pretty much hated the job. So I
Really?
just kind of wanted to create my own business on the side.
Mm-hmm.
So while I was working there, I just pretty much Googled how to make money online and came across people selling on Amazon. So at that point, I started selling stuff part-time.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't really going all that well in the first couple months, but then I eventually started gaining some traction with it. Spent like $500 at a North Face outlet buying some backpacks that they had there. At the time, that was like a ton of money for me, but I decided to
For
just
sure.
go for it. And so bought the backpacks, sent them in, and then I was basically on my lunch break at work one day and I checked my phone and I had like $300 in sales, and it was like a huge moment for me. And
Yeah.
I sold through the backpacks in a week, had about $1,000 in sales in a week. And I was like, wow, like I can really do this instead of what I'm doing now. So at
Yeah.
that point, I had like a couple months left in the Disney internship. And so I just kept building it from there. And by the time my internship was over, I wasn't like convinced that I wanted to do reselling full time, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really have much luck finding a job. So I was like, I'm just going to try this for a couple months. And if it doesn't work, I can always just get a job after that. And I've been full time ever since. So now I've been full time for 5 years as of 2022. So it's been going really well.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that is super awesome. So the year that you went to the Disney internship, what year was that?
That was in 2016.
2016. Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's like
Yep.
exactly well, 6 years, 6 years. So you're
Yeah.
saying 5 years
It was the
full
second
time.
half of 2016, so it ended like January of 17.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
that's when I started full time, but I've been doing at least part time for a little more than 5 years.
Okay. Okay. That makes
Yeah.
sense. So how did you start putting the pieces together after the backpack sales? Are you like going to every name brand outlet place and like, I wonder if this catches fire? What is like another piece that you had to add on to your business in order for it to function?
I got the backpacks at the North Face, and they were a big supplier for me for like a couple years.
Mm,
And I did other outlets as well. Most people go to Nike, but at first I was gated in Nike.
yeah.
So I did North Face and just some other random products that I found for the first couple years. And then eventually I got a letter from North Face that they wanted me to stop selling their stuff.
Yeah.
So that kind of ended. But by that point, I had already replaced it with other opportunities. Um,
Gotcha.
I could then sell Nike by the time North Face went away, though I don't do much with that anymore.
Yeah.
But it was really just looking around to find what people were buying. And there's so many random products that I sell now that are like ridiculous. It's just a matter of what can I buy for a low
Right.
price and then sell for more.
Yeah, yeah. I know this has been like our first real year selling. So we've been doing it for a year. So we're trying to learn from people that have been doing it quite a while longer. Keeper was actually one of the graphs that seems like it should be a little easier to read.
Yeah.
But we kind of struggle with Keepa. Um, like really stockpiling, because I know I would like look at it and they would say, hey, this is a good thing to buy. And I would just like randomly buy like 10 units. And I'd be like, Keepa looks like it's doing well right now. And so I like randomly get 10 units. But then after that, I'm realizing that I kind of need some components that also go with Keepa in order to know how many units I should actually buy and how much money I should actually put into it. Can you
Yeah.
walk me through that a little bit?
Yeah, so there's no perfect way of knowing how much something is going to sell.
Mhm.
I know there's software out there that will estimate sales, but nobody really knows. It's all just based on their algorithm, because Amazon's API doesn't provide that data. So,
Mm,
and you also have to factor in like the amount of competition as well. So
yeah.
if something sells 100 times a month, but there's 10 sellers competing for the buy box, that
Mm,
might be more like 10 sales a
yeah.
month.
Yeah.
So it really just comes with experience. At first, Keepa can be a little overwhelming, but I think the best strategy is to just, when you're starting out, just buy a few units of each item, send them in, analyze the Keepa for each one, and then
Mm,
see how fast they sell. And then you get an idea of like, oh, this Keepa looks really good and it did really well.
yeah,
So I was right on that one. And then next time you have the confidence to go in and buy more units.
for sure. Now, I don't know, we're at this part in our journey, really trying to figure out what Amazon's API provides and what it doesn't provide
Mhm.
or show. At what point in your journey did you start looking at Amazon's information over the third party software to really inform your buys?
I don't remember exactly when I started using like Keepa and other tools, but I think it
Mhm,
was about a month into it probably, because I I joined some different Facebook groups back then that were like communities of Amazon sellers, and they kind of shared that information with me, like you got to have Keepa. And I
mhm,
still agree that Keepa is like the number one most important tool. And nowadays, I use other things, but that's the one that like drives my buying decisions the most. And then I use other software that pulls from Amazon's API. Like I use a forecasting software that tells me like how much I should buy of each thing based on my sales right now. That one's
mhm.
called Seller Legend. And there's a bunch of other stuff I use as well,
Yeah.
Inventory Lab, and I use a repricer. But yeah, so over the years, I've built up using more and more. As you scale,
Mhm.
it's just worth your time to let a software do something instead of trying to do it yourself.
Gotcha. Because I don't necessarily know what exactly like Amazon provides over those other things, so I wanted to see if you were
Yeah.
looking more into Amazon because I think a couple months ago they released information about looking into certain categories and seeing how many things within that category is being searched, and a lot of people are using that information to
Yeah.
like drive their private listings and stuff. So I was like, I
Yeah.
guess I should use Amazon seller stuff.
Yeah. You definitely, it depends what business model you're doing. But like for retail, online arbitrage, or wholesale,
Hmm.
you probably don't really need that data, but
Mm,
like a good software for that, there's one called Smart Scout, and they
mm,
have a lot of information, like you said, based on category and search terms. But I definitely don't use that just for like trying to find products to flip. Like we have our OA deals leads list, and we don't use that data really. We basically just do a lot of manual searching,
mm.
go to a retail website, and then copy the title, paste it into Amazon, and see if it's profitable. But you
Gotcha.
don't need to get too
Yeah.
fancy, especially when you're starting out.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, within your business model, actually, we haven't said your business model. So, what exactly is your business model at this point?
So for Amazon, we do retail and online arbitrage, which is basically the same thing. Retail arbitrage is just when you go into a physical store find products. You can scan them on a smartphone app and then see if you can flip it on Amazon. And then online arbitrage is the same thing, just you find the products online like walmart.com or target.com. And then we also do a little bit of wholesale as well. So we'll contact distributors. So we'll basically find a product that's profitable, and then we'll reach out to either the brand owner or one of their distributors and ask if we can sell the product. And with that model, you can buy stuff in higher quantities most of the time, but sometimes like the margins are a little bit thinner, and sometimes there's a little bit more competition. So that's basically what we do on Amazon is we flip products. We don't create our own brand or anything like that.
Okay. Sounds about what I was thinking, but I wasn't able to really research you on like LinkedIn or social media or anything
Oh,
like
sorry.
that. You're
Yeah, my
you're not
social
very
media.
active.
Yeah, my social media presence isn't very good. That's something I got to work on.
Yeah, I know with like everything you have to do with the business and stuff, I completely understand. Social
Mhm.
media is a lot also.
Yeah, it's very time consuming.
Yeah. All right. So within this reselling journey, one of the things I kind of struggled with is like balancing and trying to figure out how much of my credit cards, how much of the money I have to invest do I
Mhm.
put it in, and how long should I expect for it to come out? Do you have a certain technique or a certain date point or anything where you're like, okay, I know that I could put this much back? How do you keep that balance?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I actually have a spreadsheet that I use, which I made myself. And basically I just put in like my bank balance and then money that I expect to come in. So that will
Mhm.
be like whatever my Amazon balance is, the pending balance. And then I also then deduct any money that I know that I'm going to owe soon. So that's usually taxes. And then from there, I get like another number. And then from
Mhm.
that number, I'll deduct all of my inventory purchases. So I get paid out from Amazon. I can get paid once every 24 hours. And then when I get paid, I just like add that to the top. So
Yeah.
then I have like a bottom line number, which tells me exactly how much money I have available to spend at any time on inventory. So, and Amazon's all about just flipping your money as many times as you can.
Yeah.
So for example, I'd rather sell something and get a 20% return and do
Mhm.
that once a month. You'll end up with way more money by the end of the year than if you buy a product and try to hold it and sell it a year from now for 100% return.
Yeah.
So it's all about like the compound interest with
Yeah.
selling on Amazon and flipping your money over as many times as you can. So I try to just the most efficient way for me to run my business is just spend my money as quickly as I can.
Mm, that's a really important point. Spending your money and making sure you invest it back into the business. Does that include people outside of yourself that are within the business, or what does that look like for you? Are you a one-man team?
So right now, my girlfriend actually works with me now. She quit her job earlier in 2021. So she's been with me for a year now in the business. So I pay her, and then I have one other employee that works at the warehouse. He basically
Mhm.
just does like packing and shipping for us. And then I also have 7 virtual assistants that work in the
Wow.
Philippines, and
Yeah.
they basically run the leads list,
Mhm.
and they also find products for me to buy and help me with some other miscellaneous tasks. But that works out really well because it's a lot cheaper for me to have to pay someone there to do it. And it's
Mhm.
like a good salary for them in their country, where if I pay someone here to do it, it's like you got minimum wage and you've got
Yeah.
taxes as
Oh, pretty
well.
big.
So
Yeah.
and I pay my people more than minimum wage, but
Mhm.
it's just with the taxes, it gets crazy.
Absolutely. So you have 1099 employees, or do you have 1099 contractors or employees here stateside? So your
They're
girlfriend is
employees.
employees. Okay.
Yeah.
And then 7 VAs. When did you start adding on VAs in your timeline? When did you realize that your money or your time is worth more than the money it would take to outsource?
Probably, I think I hired my first VA like a couple years in. I I
Mm,
I did everything for myself for a while, but I think it's important to learn the process yourself first and try to master it as much as you
yeah,
can, and then teach somebody else how to do it. Because I think some people, they'll hire VAs and
yeah,
they're like, I want someone with experience that knows how to do this already. But if you don't know how to do it yourself, it's impossible to like monitor what they're actually doing and provide
exactly.
feedback.
Yeah, yeah, no. So many people get caught up in like the systems and stuff that I was telling you about earlier, just trying to figure out stuff for the business. I'm like, it takes so long to try to figure out by yourself, but
Yeah.
how could I know? Sometimes I need 2, 3 layers of people to like double check each other within the business.
Yeah, there's a
Uh,
lot to learn.
yeah. So what did you outsource at first? Was it initially just the leads list, or what did you start with?
Um, I think I actually, I think I hired my first employee before I got VAs,
Mhm,
because it kind of makes sense to hire out the lower value tasks first.
mhm.
So some people will say like, oh, like how do you teach your employee inventory lab or whatever? And the answer is you don't. You teach them how to put something in a bag and put a sticker on it first, because
Yeah,
anybody can do that. And I should be the one doing the most important things in the business while I hand off less important things to other people. And then when I got VAs, it was really just having them do manual sourcing. So I would like find some good sales online,
mhm,
but I don't want to be the one like copy pasting into Amazon all day. So I have someone else do that, put it in a spreadsheet, and then I'll
mhm.
review it the next day. That's something that's not that hard to do, but it's tedious, and
Yeah,
it's like the best way to do sourcing on Amazon, because there are softwares that can speed up sourcing for you, but they
mhm.
don't do as good of a job as doing manual searching.
Yeah, yeah. No, I was thinking the same thing. I think one of the softwares that we tried was Tactical Arbitrage, and
Yep.
there's so many things, but like you said, I think the manual sourcing has just yielded us better, and it was just another software to like figure out that could aid us. But
Yeah.
it's like 100 and something dollars. So I was just like, I would rather not.
Yeah, we've been using TA, tactical arbitrage, for a while now too. But it has its limitations.
Yeah, yeah. Like every single system, it takes a couple months for us to like figure out. So we're just like, let's stick with this now, and then just whenever the profits from our manual sourcing like pays for that, then we're like, okay, let's do tactical arbitrage because it's
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So within this like journey of hiring all of these people and going full time 5 years and such, I'm wondering, as far as your personal development, what does that look like for you? Would you say you read more, you find more of a niche, or what would you say about your development from, I know it's a while ago, 5 years ago, to Dave
Yeah.
now?
Yeah, I was reading books for a while. I still do audiobooks. And I try to go to networking events as well, just to
Hmm.
learn from other sellers. So I've been to like a couple meetups in my area. Then I also went to ASD a couple years ago, and I went to one other conference as well. But yeah, so personal development. Um, I would say just I'm maybe more entrepreneurial as well now.
Hmm.
Like I got a couple years ago, I purchased an Airbnb as well.
Oh yes,
And
last year was the
so
year for
like
you.
Amazon kind of allowed me to do that because I was able to build up my capital through selling on Amazon.
Yes.
And so yeah, that's kind of how it's affected me. But whenever I'm kind of off the clock though, I kind of like to be off the clock and not like
Yeah.
thinking about business too much.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's really daunting. I'm glad you said ASD because
Yep.
that's something that we were looking into going last year, but with COVID and everything, I think they did have something online. So we caught a couple of things virtually.
Yep.
But I'm wondering within this profession, since you've been here for 5 years, we've kind of tried to plug in to networks and people that meet up, but we haven't quite found um, networks or opportunities that much. I don't know if it's because of COVID and we just started like within this last year, but
Yeah.
networking, it's so easy to be to yourself in this profession. You could literally
Yeah.
be in a basement and never see anyone ever and still
Yeah.
make a lot of money. So we're like, how do you plug into networking opportunities within reselling on Amazon?
Yeah, you're right. Like that's honestly how it is 99% of the time. I'm like by myself, but yeah, I mean it's just kind of going online and researching what events are out there and then
Mm,
going to them. And I'm kind of an introvert, so I don't love
yeah,
going to these
same.
events, but um I don't know. I just kind of made myself do it, though I haven't
Mhm.
really done much of anything since COVID started. So most of it's been online now. And just when COVID hit, that's kind of when I started the leads list group. And
Mm,
it's pretty cool because I've been able to connect with a lot of our own clients that have,
yeah.
asked me questions and I can ask them questions. And just through the years, I've met different people online that if I have a question about something, I pretty much know
Ooh,
someone who's good at it that will
yeah.
be able to help me.
No, that's super awesome. I'm glad you brought up your community for your OA leads list because that's how we signed up and we were aware of you. How did this, well, you told me how it developed, but how did you come up with this idea to like build a community and have a Discord and all this other information? Was there a particular person that you sought for community development or anything like that?
Um, so basically, I was, I've been hiring more VAs throughout the years for our own
Mhm.
sourcing. And we were just getting a lot of products that I couldn't use just because some product opportunities like don't make sense for me to buy. Like if I can only buy 5 of something,
Yeah.
um, the product might be great for a beginner, but for me, I I like to do stuff that has more volume. So basically, and also there are products that I'm restricted in that other people aren't. So basically,
Yeah.
it was like all these leads are just going to waste. And I knew about other leads lists that were out there. So
Mhm.
I decided to just start my own. And that's basically how it took off.
Okay, so it was more about like quantity in work that was already done, and you're like,
Yeah.
this work could be monetized because I don't want to just throw out these products. Okay. Is there anyone like how did the Discord come up though?
So Discord was just I started that after the leads list as just a bonus and a way for people to connect with me quicker because I usually only check my email like once a day and people they'll sometimes have questions or
Yeah.
sometimes we'll mess something up like we'll put a product in there that doesn't match. It happens from time to time on any
Yeah.
leads list. So if somebody can like DM me quickly, I can usually let people know and then also replace it with another lead or provide something to make up for the product that was messed up. So it's
Yeah.
really just an extra way to add value to our leads list was to have the Discord community.
Okay. So let's get into a little more of the rewards of being in reselling and doing this full time and things like that. I know you've spoken of like employing your loved ones and things like that. But what other things do you think you are able to do now that you possibly would not have been able to do at a 9 to 5 or if you were working for someone else?
So definitely my favorite thing is just being able to schedule my time however I want.
Mhm.
Like this year, me and my girlfriend, we just like went home for Christmas, and that was really nice. And that was like the first time she'd been home in 5 years
Oh,
because
wow.
she used to work in retail, and
Mm.
that's like a super busy time for them. So she was not able to leave. And um, I also just planned a trip. My mom, I'm flying her out to Florida next
Mhm.
month, and
So you
because
guys stayed in Florida after your Disney. You've been there since then.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, you left the cold behind forever.
yeah,
Okay, I got
exactly.
you.
So because I spend so much on inventory, I have a bunch of credit card points, so I can fly wherever I want, whenever I want. And I flew my mom out next month. So that's going to be fun, and I can just basically create whatever schedule I want to create. And that's kind of more important to me than any like material possessions that I'd want to
Right.
buy. Like I pretty much have everything that I want when it comes to that. So bas-
Okay.
basically my answer would be just the time freedom that it provides.
Time freedom and travel, right?
Yeah.
People, no matter, what time it is or where it is, you're like, I can be there. I have the systems in place to make that happen.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really awesome. So you like traveling, you like using your credit card points. What are you hoping this builds up to? Are you hoping to do this for the next 10, 20 years, or what's the end game for you?
Um, I would say my goal is just I would like to never have to get a real job.
Yeah.
So I'm basically just like the money that I'm making now, I'm pretty much investing all of it. And
Mm.
so yeah, I'm investing pretty much everything that I make. And yeah, I don't even know. What was the question? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So like what's the end game for you? Are
Oh
you going to
yeah, the end game.
continue doing this
So
for a while?
so yeah, I don't want to have to get a job. So I don't know what reselling is going to look like 5 or 10 years from now.
Yeah.
So the most important thing for me is to just adapt as things change. And I'm not set on doing this forever, but
Yeah.
I'm hoping to diversify into other businesses. Like I have the Airbnb. So
Hmm.
then if one thing kind of falls apart, I have something else that I can do. And then by saving my money, I have like somewhat of a safety net built up now to where if Amazon went away, I have capital to go out and start other things. So that's really the end game, is just to continue having the time freedom.
Gotcha. So, those are the questions I have for you today. Thank you for joining the podcast. We enjoy and love the story that you've shared with us and the time freedom that you are getting from reselling. Today's episode is brought to you by GSTW, where we find and fund your purpose through reselling. See you guys next episode. Bye.
Thanks for having me.